Some young girls are frightened to walk the same streets. They've even changed their route to school. This is unacceptable. This is not right in 2026. I've been contacted by hundreds of families in Ashfield. Anybody can set up an HMO overnight. No qualifications, no training, no checks. All they need is a few £1,000s in the bank, get a mortgage, go and buy a cheap house somewhere in the Midlands or in the North or in places like Ashfield, buy up a cheap terraced house, turn it into an HMO. But this leads to thousands of unscrupulous investors who live hundreds of miles away from places like Ashfield, buying up properties and filling them with people, quite frankly, that I don't want living in my community. People who are criminals, people who are out thieving every night, people who are creating antisocial behaviour. They're filling our streets. That we have druggies, criminals, wrong-uns, living sometimes 6 at a time in one small house, on streets that were once considered a good place to live. And the decent folk who can afford to leave these streets are leaving in their droves. The problem there is that the investors, the landlords, then buy up their houses and turn them into HMOs. But the other decent people that live on the street that can't afford to move, they have to stay there and put up with a life of misery. And where are these young men going to go? I'll tell you where they're going to go. They're going to go into a HMO on the street, near people in this chamber, near my family, near my friends, near my neighbours. And we've had enough of this. We've got enough of our own homegrown nuisances in this country without importing even more to live in HMOs. Now, I've seen in Ashfield where, because of the HMOs being filled with young men, some young girls are frightened to walk the same streets. They've even changed their route to school. This is unacceptable. This is not right in 2026, that young girls, young British girls, are having to change the way they walk to school. It's not fair on our citizens. And it is shameful that we've had nurses kicked out of the HMOs. Nurses that work at my local hospital, the same hospital where I was born, kicked out of their HMOs because Serco has taken over the contract and they've been replaced by illegal migrants. But there is a solution to all of this, because HMOs should not be the problem.
Minister Matthew Pennycook.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Madam Deputy Speaker, I appreciate fully the concerns the Honourable Gentleman raises about houses in multiple occupation. HMOs can play an important role in the housing market, providing relatively low-cost accommodation for rent. But it is right that local planning authorities can act where appropriate. It is, of course, crucial that HMOs are safe and well managed. That's why all HMOs are subject to management regulations.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. What could the Minister advise me to do, or my local authority to do, to stop these HMOs kicking out working people in Ashfield and putting in illegal migrants?
Minister.
Well, I say to the Honourable Gentleman, I'll pass his concerns. I've heard them, they're on the record. I'll pass them to the relevant ministers in the Home Office. So to conclude, Madam Deputy Speaker, local planning authorities already have powers to limit the proliferation of HMOs.